Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
You are Ruhani. Yes. I am Ravi Kumar. I am acting as chairman of this board, and our members Gayatri, Venkatesh, and Tirupati Rao and Satish. Welcome to the board. Can you please introduce yourself about?
So, my name is Ruhani. I'm born and brought up in Gurugram, Haryana. I have done my graduation in economics from St. Stephen's College and masters in economics from Indira Gandhi National Open University. Thereafter, I joined the Indian Economic Service, served there for 3 years. In IES, I was posted at NITI Aayog and I have served there for 2 years, post which I have joined the Indian Police Service and currently I am training at National Police Academy, Hyderabad.
So right now you're in NP and you're under the training, right? So when I look at your resume, so I have observed one thing that the order of preferences that you have given for your cadre. So I am surprised to see you have given for your home cadre. For this you have given it as a no. So may I know the reason?
Sir, I've already served in Delhi and want to serve in places far from the national city. There are opportunities to come back to Delhi on central deputation, so I felt that a service in a place different from Delhi would be a good thing to start from.
Okay. So earlier you worked in Indian Academic Service and you worked with NITI Aayog. So how was your experience for that tenure that you worked with NITI Aayog?
So I had a very fulfilling experience at NITI Aayog. I was posted at a Development Monitoring and Evaluation Office, which is an attached office of NITI Aayog. I was in the monitoring vertical there. There we used to monitor schemes of different ministries. I was allotted Ministry of Jal Shakti. So I was monitoring Jal Jeevan Mission, the indicators, output and outcome indicators. Apart from that, sir, I was also a part of the partnerships and capacity building vertical at NITI Aayog. So when we took capacity building sessions, so in a way I also learned there. Also, I learned some procurement skills from NITI Aayog. So overall, the experience was very good, sir.
So I think your tenure in NITI Aayog, so it seems it is parallel to the pandemic time.
Yes. Yes.
So what kind of the reforms?
So it was post-pandemic. Pandemic time, I was having my training. 2020 to 21, I was having my IES training. 21, 1st July 2021, I joined NITI Aayog and left there on 12th November 2023.
So what makes you to come to the civil services from the academic services? What made you to take the decision?
So from the very beginning, I was writing exams for civil services examination also. But since I had economics in my batch undergraduation, so I wanted to remain connected with the subject. Hence, I pursued masters also, and so it was very natural for me to appear for the Indian Economic Service. So, but I couldn't make it to the list of IAS or IPS, so I kept on trying, sir. But meanwhile, I kept on serving also in the Indian economics.
So when you come to the economics, so before the pandemic and after the pandemic, so how did you see the change of the economy in India and how the models are calibrated accordingly? Yeah.
So COVID definitely affected our growth rate. Our growth rate was negative during the time of COVID, but it also exposed that our health preparedness levels need to be improved. So post-COVID, I think districts have started focusing more on providing better health facilities. Also, sir, after COVID, there has been some learning losses. So in that sense, some catching up with what students have lost during COVID is also being taken on a mission mode by the schools to bridge the learning losses. Apart from that, sir, before COVID also government schemes were focused on providing basic facilities, and post-COVID also nothing has changed. But post-COVID, I think inflation has gone up. It is also because of different geopolitical situations.
Yes. So I see you from your DAP that you have earlier in IES, right now in IPS. Again, you are writing on another exam. And so don't you think you are inconsistent with your decision? Like, what do you think about your decision making skills?
Ma'am, I was already into economics, so Indian Economic Service, I enjoyed my tenure in the Indian Economic Service since it was very much related to my subject. But there I felt that the field exposure can be more. So I kept on writing exam. And then when I got into Indian Police Service, here I was a bit skeptical before joining, but since I wanted to serve on the field, so I joined the police service. Here we are being trained, but I wrote the exam first to exhaust my chance, but second also because uh, uh, IAS gives a bit more diversity in terms of domains in which you deal with. Also, my experience at NITI Aayog, I had a 360-degree exposure to different schemes of different ministries. So, in the police, you are kind of limited to law and order, but IAS has more domains, more departments where he or she can serve and also learn.
Okay. So after seeing the civil services, being in civil service, what do you think the role of economics in during your day-to-day administration?
Economics, every problem is somewhere or the other related to economics. So, an economist can design better incentives like for farmers. Some incentives can be given so that they move towards better farming practices. And economists can do better cost and benefit analysis, and then go ahead with decision. I think that improves the decision making when you approach things from a meticulous, rigorous point of view.
Okay. And how did your graduation help? Is there any example you can give?
Yes, ma'am. Think my graduation in economics, it made me better suited to grasp a few things immediately. Like I was very good at grasping procurement owing to my field in, knowledge of economics. But I think once you start preparing for civil services, I think you start grasping things in the administration really fast. Even if it is law and order, criminology, that helps. That economics helps.
Okay. So recently, France has declared abortion as constitutional right? So what is your opinion regarding this?
I think, ma'am, there has always been a debate between right to life of an unborn child and giving the freedom to the mother to go ahead to give her the autonomy to do what she wants to do. So I think France has given more priority to the freedom of the mother, which even India has does allow abortion up to 24 weeks. But I think we also give primacy to the rights of the unborn, right to life of the unborn child, which is why we do not allow, in normal cases, abortion beyond 24 weeks. So I think India has a more balanced approach, but I think France has upheld liberty, has liberal views, and has given more priority to the freedom and liberty of the mother.
Okay.
So, Ms. Ruhani, you said when ma'am asked, you said that IAS will give you more diversity. So, in the present context, India needs journalists or specialists.
So India needs both because without specialists, we won't have the domain knowledge. But generalist also has a 360-degree viewpoint of it is not just about knowing a specific field; it is also about getting things done. And I think generalists do know how to tap on the knowledge of the specialist also, and also get things done in a general and in a fast manner. So I think generalists are also very much needed.
So specialists cannot do things done.
So it's not about that. If specialists are also trained in management skills and other administrative skills, I think they can also be on par with the.
Would you support specialized journalists? Specialized journalists.
Yes, sir, that is also one very good way of delivering good governance, because if generalists also pick one domain and specialize in at least one domain, I think they can give better results.
So when you think about Gandhiji, what is the first thing that strikes your mind?
Non-violence.
Non-violence. Suppose you become the SP of a district, would you keep Gandhiji portrait on in your room?
So he's the father of the nation. I would have no problem in having his portrait in the room.
But as a police officer, sometimes you need to resort to violence, right? So don't you think there is some inconsistency between your belief and the actions?
So in general cases, even police cannot be violent, but in cases like during remand, if police has to ask some specific questions, and then maybe police has to adopt. But even third degree methods are not to be adopted. We are a democratic country, and it's not like China or where you can beat up and get things out from the criminal. So I think as a police officer, I would adopt a more scientific evidence based, do a better investigation, and just not rely on the violent methods to get the truth out from the criminal.
So your IPS officer, you have been training for the last 1 year? You've been on training?
No, sir, it's been 3 months at NPA.
3 months. Oh, sorry, 3 months. So do you think Gandhi is relevant today as an IPS officer? Can you please assess? Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I think he is relevant because the Gandhiji's first principle of trusteeship, like we are the trustees of public trust is with us. So I think we have to utilize it to the best of our abilities, and never break public trust by indulging in corrupt activities or anything which belittles the trust of the public. And also we must stand with the marginalized sections of the society, and I think that will help me uphold the principle of trusteeship. So next is the truth. The always just to close a case or just to meet some deadline, we cannot adopt false methods or hide the truth. Even if something bad happens in our department, we have to let the truth out. So I think these two values of Gandhiji, we must try to uphold.
Okay. So now again, you're an SP of a district, right? Because of some of the past actions, thousands of people surrounded your office and ready to kill you. Okay. How will you deal with that action? I'll give you 3 options. Okay. One is take one of the agitators as a hostage and scare them. Second, do nothing and pray to the God. Third option is open fire and kill them. What will you take?
So I would like to know, the agitators are agitating for what?
Because of some of the past actions you have performed, maybe in the last week.
So I think I would adopt somewhere near to the first option. Talk to some of their leaders of the agitation and try to know what has led to their agitation and what can be done. And if I think their demands are genuine, I would like to negotiate and listen to them. But I think if it is politically motivated or they have some vested interest, I would just like to go ahead with my decision.
Okay. One more again related to you are a SP lady, SP of a district, and generally SP report to whom? District SP report to
SSP
DIG. Okay, DIG. So you are working under one of the DIGs who is very prejudiced. He is not even recognizing your work. So how will you deal with that such bosses? Again, I'll give you three options. One is do nothing and don't do any work because you think that your work is not recognized. Second, do nothing and carry on your work. And third, make it a public issue. Out of three options, what will you choose?
So I think I will choose the second option. I am that is up to the DIG what he thinks about me, but I will carry on with my work. And if the work is genuine, I think people's appreciation is, I think, more than enough. But as long as I'm not harassed or anything, I would like to carry on with my work. I won't mind if I do not get praise from the boss.
But he is prejudicing you. He is not, right?
Sir, in government we cannot change our bosses. So I will carry on with the work. So I think some or the other day, if my work is right, if my decisions are right, if it is leading to peace and law and order, uh, I think his views will change.
Okay. So again, you are a SP of a district because in the present era, there is a lot of focus, especially through social media, on SPs and district collectors. And if some bullying and trolling happening in social media about you, how will you deal with that?
Sir, I think I would use the IT Act, and there are criminal provisions for penal provisions for people indulging in trolling and bullying. So I would book a case under them.
Okay. So now you are opting from IPS to IAS, right? So if you became an IAS officer, what would be your what do you call? What would be your preferences, and how will you, if you become the district collector of Gurugram, yeah, right? Gurugram. So what will your preferences if you become IAS officer?
I mean, the areas in which I would like to work.
The Gurugram district, suppose from IPS to you will become you become the district collector of Gurugram. What are your area of works and what are the major problems that you work on it?
So first, I would like to work on skilling the youth, because there is a lot of unemployment problem, and if people do not have enough skills, that will continue. So I would do something on the skilling front, be it in manufacturing skills, manufacturing related skills, industrial skills, or even services related skills. I would first work on that. Second, sir, I would work on the nutrition of women, especially in India, whether it's urban areas or rural areas. All women are mostly 60% of women are suffering. But anemia problems are, sir, there even in urban women. So I would like to popularize the use of iron folic tablets and other supplements which can address the anemia levels. So next, I would like to work on education, because my parents are also teachers, and teaching, I can see that teaching forms the basis of life, and if children drop out, that has a substantial negative effect on their standards of living. So I would like to bring out the dropout kids and also want to improve the learning outcomes.
So you worked as IAS officer in Jal Shakti mission. You worked on that project. Jal Jeevan mission. What was major areas of your work?
So I was basically involved in monitoring of the scheme. So we had this outcome budget is released every year along with the budget. So we have output indicators and outcome indicators. So since that it was a new scheme, there were no indicators to monitor how the scheme is running. So just one output indicator was there when I joined NITI. It was the number of taps installed in the households. But that does not give you how well the scheme is running, because you don't know how frequently people use the taps. Is the tap water quality is it according to the BIS norms? How regularly water comes there, and do people really are people really using those taps? Because people in rural areas generally depend on the bore wells to tap on water. Water doesn't come in the taps regularly at all times, but borewell water comes regularly. So I framed a list of indicators, and I was pleased that my set of indicators was accepted by the ministry and now in the outcome budget. So one is number of percentage of households getting minimum of 55 liters LPCD of water per capita. So that was percentage of households. The ministry set the targets for it, but I proposed the indicators. Then percentage of households getting water as per BIS 10,500 norms. Then a reduction in timings that women spend on collecting water. So these were some outcome indicators that I proposed for Jal Jeevan Mission.
What are the set of indicators you recommended?
So one is number of percentage of households getting minimum of 55 liters LPCD of water per capita. So that was percentage of households. The ministry set the targets for it, but I proposed the indicators. Then percentage of households getting water as per BIS 10,500 norms. Then a reduction in timings that women spend on collecting water. So these were some outcome indicators that I proposed for Jal Jeevan Mission. So one is number of percentage of households getting minimum of 55 liters LPCD of water
Okay.
per capita. So that was percentage of households. The ministry set the target for it, but I proposed the indicators. Then percentage of households getting water as per BIS 10,500 norms. Then a reduction in timings that women spend on collecting water.
Okay.
So these were some outcome indicators that I proposed for Delhi.
So not yet accepted.
No, so they were accepted.
Accepted.
They were
They were using it for capturing the data.
They are the outcome.
Capture. Okay. So you also release statistics for Swachh Bharat mission, right? Generally, IAS officer work on.
Yes, sir. IES officers work in every ministry.
I mean, your ministry for releasing the data.
Yes.
What I see that they release that these review documents that so many of villages move to 100% open
Yes,
defecation.
yes.
But what I see that it is completely not true,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Suppose you became the district collector of a particular state, and now how will you present this data? Will you go for this outcome budget or give the statistics only to please higher officials in the ministry, or will you be ready to capture the original data and put the real picture of the ground level?
So this problem I have dealt at NITI Aayog. So we used to ask ministries to give the truth, only the truth. Because the idea is that it's not that we want to please anybody, it's that we are capturing these indicators so that we can improve. So if you capture the truth only, then you can improve. If you are already given 100%, then what will you work on?
Deal with this, because what I see that my village has been declared 100% ODF, and this has become big news in. But real picture is even 30% people are not, still 30% people are not able to. They're not using these Swachh Bharat bathrooms or whatever. This is the completely different picture. So how will you deal with the problems if you become the district collector?
So first, I would check whether the water supply is sufficient. Are the toilets connected, having water supply? So if they don't have a piped water supply, so the toilets will be non-functional. Second, sir, also we would see what are the water sources that can supply water to such toilets. Third is, sir, behavioral change. Unless we encourage the communities to go ahead with using toilets and stop open defecation, I think there will be a lot of hygienic problems in their families, and which will also affect their nutrition, their own nutrition, because unless you have good sanitation, your food and all does not get absorbed sufficiently. So through various Nukkad Nataks, documentaries, I would like to bring this behavioral change.
Okay. So, Ruhani, you have done your entire schooling from Gurugram only?
Yes.
So, till your graduation, till 12th,
Yes.
Gurugram.
Yes.
See, when did you observe the groundwater problem in Gurugram? Gurugram, the water problem it is facing presently, when it actually started from experience, from childhood? When did you first start listening to this problem?
So groundwater problem. There are people who use submersibles and extract a lot of groundwater. But I think ever since this major concretization of Gurgaon has happened and new sectors started coming up, I think 5-6 years back. I think Gurgaon is now a major concrete city, and the forest cover and other green cover has substantially reduced. In fact, Gurgaon has the lowest green cover in Haryana. So I think with major urbanization, and I think the water absorption has reduced, and which has impacted the groundwater levels.
To blame construction sector
Yes.
as the reason for this, right?
Yes.
Have you observed that Bengaluru as a city is facing water crisis from last few months?
Yes.
So, what do you think is the reason? Is it the same reason? Have you read the newspapers about the Bengaluru water crisis?
So I'm not sure about. I know that there is a water crisis, but I am not aware of the exact cause behind.
So, tell me, in the last 5 years, that's what you just told about the water crisis in Gurugram. In the last 5 years, tell me the steps taken by Haryana government to solve this problem, and which steps do you think really has been output?
So one is Haryana is has a lot of agriculture. So farmers are still growing water intensive crops like paddy. So to work towards only Gurugram. So one is revival of lakes. So under the Amrit Sarovar scheme of the government of India, every district has to revive at least 75 lakes in the district. So that rejuvenating water bodies is one step towards addressing the water scarcity problem. Second is, sir, we are also promoting rainwater harvesting, so that the rainwater does not go waste, and some of it can be utilized to address our water problems. Third, sir, I think there is a better inspection happening in Gurugram about how residents are utilizing groundwater. Somebody has an illegal submersible connection and they are extracting a lot of groundwater. I think there are penalties being imposed on those.
So, you said that rainwater harvesting is being done in Gurugram presently.
Yes, it is. At least in commercial buildings.
Is there an act or law regarding that, or is it voluntary?
So I think I am not sure. I think it is voluntary.
It's voluntary. Okay. See, the sex ratio in Haryana is still low. Government has come up with several kind of policies, schemes, and acts from last decade. However, there are very few schemes which are having considerable output in increasing sex ratio. But most of the other schemes, though they are grand in design, would not really bring any change. Can you name one or two schemes which really had brought a very good output regarding this reduced sex ratio?
So there are combination of schemes and laws which have helped to address the sex ratio problem. So first is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme, which has enhanced awareness levels and also led to various campaigns which has led to behavioral change in rural areas of Haryana. So next there is Hamari Beti Aapki Beti scheme in Haryana, which gives cash incentives to parents who have second girl child. So that is also one way of addressing the problem that second girl child is also not a burden and there are cash incentives. So third is I think Sukanya Samriddhi scheme. So there is I don't know about the evidence that every scheme has, the amount of contribution that every scheme has towards addressing the sex ratio, but broadly I know that these schemes are majorly oriented towards addressing the problem of
Generally, we should always try to measure the output of every scheme or every policy in general, so that we can discard some schemes and we can encourage some more, put more budget, right? As a economist, can I call you an economist?
Yes, sir.
Okay, as an economist, how did you measure the output of both the schemes you told about, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao? You are telling me that among all the schemes, that is your favorite scheme. And you're trying to tell me that this particular scheme really tried to increase sex ratio. But is there any statistical evidence? Or how do you measure this kind of schemes? First tell me, how do you measure Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao first? How do you measure the output? Number two, based on what evidence you are present telling me that it's a very good scheme?
So it can be one of the contributors towards addressing the low sex ratio, but it is not the only scheme which has led to decline in sex ratio. The good implementation of PCP and DT Act has also improved sex ratio. So I think, sir, measuring the impact of these schemes is very important, and the output indicator which can be used to measure Beti Bachao Beti Padhao is the number of awareness campaigns held. It because the objective of the scheme is only IEC campaigns. So just one indicator and outcome is reduced sex ratio, but we can do a regression analysis as we have it in economics, that we can have one dependent variable as a sex ratio and various independent variables. So number of IEC campaigns held for Beti Bachao, then number of scholarships being given, number of raids happening for PCP and DT. These are the various variables, and then use the data and run a regression analysis, and then the coefficients can be found which give the impact of every scheme. I think researchers who do gender studies do calculate the impact, but I am yet to read any such research paper.
I think you know what is happening presently with Haryana farmers, right? Who are protesting. So tell me, as an economist, out of all the demands, can you tell the demands which are not feasible? Central government cannot implement it. However hard they protest, central government cannot implement it. Can you name such demands?
So one is pulling out from the WTO is something which India cannot do at all. So despite agreement on agriculture, the cap on our subsidies, but still we want to remain a part of WTO because that helps India to be a part of international rule making. So next is the loan waivers. This is purely a populist demand. So this promotes moral hazard and lowers the incentive of farmers towards repaying back the loan. So I think it is not prudent for the government to accept this. If it is a genuine case where due to monsoon deficiency crops failed, I think there the government can consider. Also, sir, making MSP a legal right. Government cannot. This will enhance the fiscal expenditure of the government, and I think even if the government accepts this demand, the government should keep some conditions like above these are the minimum standards that farmers should meet. If these standards are met, we can guarantee you MSP. Otherwise, the government cannot make MSP a legal right for all the crops.
You said just now, is government trying to do which? Putting some conditions and then coming out with that final MSP legal.
So the government wants to promote crop diversification, hence it proposed that we will give you MSP for the next 5 years for crops like maize, pulses, cotton, oilseeds. But as of now, the farmers have rejected because predominantly they grow rice and wheat and they want legal MSP for rice and wheat.
So where is the solution now? You are looking from both sides of Haryana.
Yes.
So you know the emotion of farmers.
Yes.
You have from government also.
Yes.
the constraints of the government. So how to balance this? If you are in government, how do you convince the farmers?
Sir, I think the government offered a good deal because crop diversification is something that we really want, and apart from this, pulses and all have good prices in the market. And if farmers grow, they will benefit from the market prices also. They won't even need MSP. Pulses are high in demand. I think the government needs to do more to nudge the farmers towards growing these crops, and also to enhance the oilseed production, which is really important because we need to reduce the import bill of importing oilseeds. I think government really needs to give more incentives for growing oilseeds, and also raise the customs duties on the imports of oilseeds coming, because as of now our farmers cannot compete with the cheap oilseeds coming from different countries.
So you are in police service. There are few police reforms implemented by the government in the last decade. Tell me at least two reforms which you think has really changed the face of police in terms of public's perspective.
So first of all, I think police has definitely become more tech savvy with growing. Although there are emerging technologies through which criminals are doing more crime, but I think police is also catching up. So there is a lot of capacity building within the police department, which really has enhanced the conviction rate. So one is that police is getting technologically savvy. So second is, I think there are more women joining the police now, and I think police is it does provide good facilities and conditions for women to serve. So I think that is also making women victims more comfortable in approaching the police, and also having faith on the police department that their voices will be heard.
You're talking about women, Ruhani. Are presently women allowed into the combat forces in the defense services?
So, so they recently have been allowed in artillery, I think so. They are currently training at NDA and will soon be joining. First batch of it will be joining the Indian Military Academy. But in combat roles, I think in the artillery front, they are there. But in other two divisions, I am not sure. Infantry and cavalry. I need to.
In the frontline combat forces, are present women allowed in India?
In infantry, I don't think they are not allowed.
So should they be allowed according to you?
So they should be, definitely, but we have countries like Israel where women do serve in the army. We can pick up probably best practices from Israel and learn how women, because at present, if not in the army, at least in the paramilitary forces like ITBP and SSB, women do serve at even high altitudes and difficult conditions. So probably we can learn from the army, can learn from the paramilitary and even from the police, because women are serving on the front lines. So I think it is a good idea to induct women into the army in combat roles also.
Can we really learn from Israel? Don't the conditions, population, technology of Israel completely different from India?
So they are, their conditions, Israel lives in a very hostile environment. So I think they have adapted, and their learnings will be a major learning from Israel will also enhance our knowledge on how what all standards we can set for women in terms of physical fitness and what all training they need to be given. So I think Israel is a good case study for.
My last question to you, Ruhani.
Yes, sir.
You know OFSPA, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there any clause in OFSPA that you disagree with?
So I'm not aware of the exact clause.
Okay, broadly, the philosophy of OFSPA, are you in support of it or you have any disagreements?
So majorly I do support AFPA, because in militancy affected regions, there is a need to give a free hand to the armed forces. But I think our army also needs to be sensitized about the human rights, and also they need to be made aware that even action against them can be taken if they act according to their own whims and fancies, if even if there is no reasonable doubt and still they indulge in violent methods. I think it should be made really clear to the army that only if there is a reasonable doubt and suspicion, only then they can use their weapons.
See, but if you have to implement an act which you disagree with, you have to disagree with it, but you have to implement in their position, what would you do?
Act as in sir AFSPA.
OFSPA or any other act in the northeast of Kashmir, which you in person, your conscience do not agree to implement that law. But as a police officer, you are asked to implement, you have to follow the law. What would you do in such situation?
So, as a civil servant, I am bound to follow the rule of law. So, I am not a legislator, I will be an implementer. So, I will implement the law in letter and spirit. However, if I feel that there are some shortcomings in the law or some things have been ignored or repercussions of some clause has not been thought into, I would write to the ministry that these are the problems we are facing, and I would leave it to them to decide what to do with it.
There is one question I want to ask. In your extraordinary activities, you told studying and practicing of spirituality. Yeah. So, what do you study in spirituality?
Different spiritual books like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius or Art of Living by Epictetus. So anything related to spiritual themes I like to.
No, if you have learned meditation, you should have you should have told meditation, no? But you have specially put spirituality.
Yes.
So, according to you, what is spirituality different from the meditation or yoga?
So, ma'am, meditation is one technique of following spirituality, but spirituality in general is a way of life, like like being aware of the difference between your needs and wants, being humble in nature, also being caring not only about yourself but also about others about your environment. So I think these are the aspects.
But these are like empathy, as you told.
Yes.
Caring about others comes under empathy,
Yeah.
and previous these two also falls under other categories. So, what exactly spirituality do you practice and study?
So, ma'am, basically, spirituality is anything which is, I would say, which is belief in the higher power. So, leaving some things to the higher power and also being following a moral code of conduct. These are the topics I like to study. So, basically, spirituality is also being non-materialistic. So, running after fame, money, power, and then realizing that what you needed to do was something else and you did this. So, these topics and themes.
Do you follow any spiritual leader?
No spiritual leader as such, but I like to read on different streams of spirituality.
Any book you suggest?
My favorite is the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
So, how are you going to use this spiritual knowledge in administration or police service?
So it comes a lot of it has a lot of utilization in the services. So I was facing a real crisis in my life when I was not able to clear the exam. So I started with meditation and I got calm and focused after that. So even now I try to meditate, even though very little time in police academy with the training. So I think that basic calmness, spirituality and meditation does give. Also, I try to read up as and when I get time. It keeps me focused. It doesn't distract me into other activities which I could have done. So it always gives a new idea, and basically it kills my ego. Whatever rank you acquire, you still have to learn something. You have to be open to feedback, open to constructive criticism. I think these are the things that spirituality only has.
So, you represented school in district swimming competition.
Yes.
So, many people from Haryana representing in Olympics. but not in swimming. Why? What are the reasons? Not only in Haryana, India is not represented in swimming.
So this is a concern because there's not a swimming culture in Haryana. It's more of kabaddi, wrestling. So swimming is mostly in the south, mostly in Karnataka. They have aquatic clubs, and also the weather is has one role to play. They're all weather functional swimming pools in the south, but in the north during winter swimming pools are closed. So even swimming athletes from Haryana go to Karnataka during winters. So these are some of the reasons, but I think the government can give better incentives to promote swimming also. And swimming is infra-heavy sport, so I think investing in that swimming infrastructure and making it more accessible and not limiting it just to some gymkhana clubs is something that the government can work.
So you organized Lohri celebrations.
Yes.
So do you know any other names of Lohri compared to other states and other
Yes, sir.
celebrations?
So Lodi is the related festivals are Bihu in Assam and Makar Sankranti in North in general. In UP and Makar Sankranti and Uttarayan in Gujarat. So these are the few names I can.
So what is difference between south and north in culture or in conducting that festival and all?
Basically the difference is in I think cuisine and the way they organize. Like in South, Pongal is also organized during Lodi, so they have mostly rice focused cuisines during that festival. And in Lodi we have we light a bonfire, so it is more of till sesame and gajak and makki ki roti, sarson ka saag. So I think difference in food. Apart from that, these are basically harvest festivals. So and also they celebrate the end of winters and starting of longer days and smaller nights. So this is the common thing, but I think the way they celebrate it is different.
So writing blogs on my experiences. So what is your recent experience?
So my recent experience, the blog I've written is about obstacles. So we have a battle obstacle assault course in NPA. And there are like 10 obstacles that we have to cross. So first obstacle was rope ladder, and I tried it like 10 times. I couldn't climb the rope ladder because you need muscle strength to do this. Also there was another obstacle, Tarzan's doing, and due to which we have to hold the rope and go from one end to another point. I couldn't do any of those and I was really depressed. But then my instructors really worked with me after the classes. They used to work with me in the evening, and I fell down many times. I peeled my skin to learn those obstacles, but finally I did it. I learned the technique and practiced it multiple times. So finally I did the obstacle thing within the time limit. So those experiences I have documented.
Just to conclude, Ruhani. So when you said, when you worked with NITI Aayog, you contributed towards the procurement services. I hope you have knowledge on GEM,
Yes.
government e-marketing. Can you please give me some light on that and how it is going to be changed the procurement in the government services?
Yes, sir. Sir, on GEM, we have many vendors. So R was services-based procurement. So during my time, we used to do it on CPP portal. But now government has mandated GEM. GEM was at my time, during my time, it was mainly for goods, and we were doing services procurement. But now even services procurement have come under GEM. So we used to release RFPs, request for proposals, to conduct evaluation studies of different schemes, and different consultancy organizations used to apply to bid for the project. So there were various, we awarded the contracts to different consultancies for different schemes. And I think it makes the system more transparent, because what we see even in the states now, or in an era where GEM was not used, the person who used to do the department that used to conduct the evaluation study used to give it to the favorite consultancy organization. There was no transparency, there was no bidding as such, or it was, even if there was some bidding, it was only on paper. The contract always went to the favorite organization of the department. So now GEM has brought in transparency, and there is a set criteria that you need to have some technical qualifications and also the financial, which is the L1, lowest cost. So it's just not the lowest cost, but also if they have some good quality technical qualifications, good qualified personnel who can do the research and evaluation, the contract was awarded to that. Also, sir, there are new consultancies also, startups coming. So like for MSMEs, GEM has some special provisions that we relax the turnover requirements for them. So GEM also has this gives this opportunity to emerging startups that some conditions will be relaxed for you and you can also bid. So I think it was a good way to promote research amongst.
So what do you prefer, from the QCBS or LCS?
So I think QCBS, because QCBS also gives importance to quality. It's not just the L1. So I think quality is also very much needed in research, if not in goods, at least in services like research. I think quality is also needed. So
you're ensuring the quality with respect to the cost. Again, coming back, the question that few of our members have asked for you regarding the spirituality again. Right? So now the government of India is promoting yoga. Do you think is it optional or mandatory?
So it is optional. It is optional. In schools, we do have yoga. Even in our academy, we have yoga. But it is only up to a point where they where we have yoga classes and we are required to do basic asanas. But beyond a point, it is up to the individual if they want to pursue more asanas, more breathing exercises. It is up to them.
Yeah. So when you are coming to this police, okay, right, where you are right now. So recently, people are talking about the community policing. So what do you feel the difference, the earlier policing and the community policing, what they are adapting today?
So community policing is a big relief for the police department. In the sense that police cannot be everywhere. We have 196 policemen per 1 lakh population. So it is the population which can help us. They can be the eyes and ears of the police. So if there is some illegal intrusion into the borders, the village community should be sensitized to give the tip off to the police. Even if there are women related crimes, the police can intervene to a limited extent. The community has a major role in preventing or addressing these crimes. So community policing does like involving the community, like having peace meetings to address the issues of communal riots and during festival. Not at all, sir. So when the police involves the community and tells them that you conduct your processions, festivals, whatever, but we want peace, we want organized procession, law and order to be maintained. I think it sends a message to the community, and that at all does not threaten the position of the police in addressing it. It rather helps. Yes, it makes the police friendly.